There is a bombshell new report out that the Obama administration is playing politics with some controversial border issues. We're hearing that the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency is actually relaxing the enforcement of border laws, which critics are now calling a backdoor offer of amnesty. Here's part of an ICE memo that was acquired by the Daily Caller, saying this: when weighing whether an exercise of prosecutorial discretion may be warranted for a given alien, ICE officials, agents, and attorneys should consider all relevant factors, including but not limited to circumstances of the person's arrival in the United States. Moments ago, ICE responded with its statement. Mark Krikorian is the Center for Immigration Studies. We'll get to that statement in just a moment. Good morning, Mark. Let's talk a little bit about this memo that we just started hearing about today, basically saying don't deport illegals if they're doing good things in this country, if they have family members who are serving in the military, or if they're in some sort of educational program. What's your reaction to that?
Well, this is an attempt, really administratively, Heather, to pass what's called the DREAM Act. This was legislation that came up last year. Congress didn't pass it. It was a kind of amnesty, a sort of targeted amnesty. And what this memo is attempting to do is implement basically the idea of that amnesty, amnesty for certain groups of people, without Congress's permission. It's an administrative amnesty.
In other words, it's a backdoor way of being able to pass what Congress could not get through. This is something that is done time and time and again in Washington, D.C., whether it's with regard to health care or other things. So this should come as no surprise to folks. But let me ask you this, because some of the agents and folks in law enforcement say, look, we only have finite resources. We can't go and pick up everyone. This is a way for us to target the truly bad people, the criminals, kick them out of the country, but leave people in the United States who are at least attempting to better themselves and add to society. What do you say to that?
They always had that discretion because you have to have wiggle room if you're enforcing the law, because the law is a blunt instrument. The problem is with immigration is that it's becoming all wiggle room and no law. And this is not giving ICE agents any authority they didn't already have. This is a political memo to tell the open borders groups, La Raza and the ACLU and the rest of them, that the administration is really on their side. It doesn't really want to enforce the law either, although it has to do some law enforcement just to satisfy the Neanderthals who watch Fox News, but that they're going to essentially kind of chastise their own immigration agents and telling them that they're being too tough in order to make La Raza and the ACLU feel better about the administration.
Which ties into the 2012 election, and we'll get to that point in just a bit. I want to put up the statement that we did receive just a short while ago from ICE. Guys, can we put that up right now? And they say the directive clearly states that the exercise of discretion is appropriate in cases involving threats to public safety. In other words, getting the bad guys out first. We started talking about 2012 and 2012 politics. There are a lot of Latino groups out there who are very upset with the president, believing that the president has not done enough to address immigration reform. Congressman Gutierrez from Illinois is one of them. He's a Democrat, and he's basically criticized the president for this. I think we have a soundbite or some sort of a statement from him. He says it's not about voting for the tequila party. It's about not voting for Republicans. I don't see Latinos doing that. What I see is them staying home. By the way, the Tequila Party is sort of a grassroots group. But basically what he is saying is that if the president doesn't do more to stop deportations, Hispanics will stay home.
That assumes that immigration is an overwhelming issue for Hispanic voters, which poll after poll shows it isn't. They're Americans like anybody else, and they're concerned with the same stuff everybody else is. This is directed to the Hispanic and left-wing advocacy groups themselves. In other words, guys like Gutierrez and La Raza and the ACLU, because the administration is trying to say, look, we agree with you that we would like to stop all enforcement. These bad Republicans won't let us, so we're trying to kind of split the difference, have our cake and eat it too. Right. They're saying we're doing some enforcement and boasting about that sometimes, and then doing things like this memo, on the other hand, that undercuts enforcement.
All right, Mark, we're going to have to leave it there. We'll stay on top of this one, and rest assured that this is going to make a lot of headlines. Mark Krikorian with the Center for Immigration Studies, thanks so much.